Welcome to the Soulish Podcast. My name is Whitney and I'm your host. On the Soulish Podcast, we talk about the ish of the soul. We talk about all the things, every topic that you can think of: health, wellness, beauty, relationships, spirituality, psychic mediumship, past life regressions, astrology, astronomy, all of it. We talk about all of it, including even business and how we show up in business. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about healing from within, exploring the mind-body connection, which is really the basis of the work that I do. I really help people connect in with all parts of themselves and integrate. And I think that that is like the key to healing and wholeness is connection. And so I'm really excited to talk about this. And it's even relevant with some of the things that I've been kind of going through. It's been an interesting season of my life. I've talked about how I was kind of in a cave season at the beginning of 2024 and moving through things and really kind of reconciling, but also reclaiming and also like organizing things in my brain, and also seeing the places that I still needed healing or I still needed connection. Even in like past programming and past conditioning and beliefs or past experiences that reinforced things around how I need to work for everything or earn it, or like that still that feeling of I popped out wrong and I need to correct that. And that's why I'm here, is to correct this, is to redeem myself. And so it was very interesting this cave season. It brought so much up, and I honestly am still, I feel like I'm kind of sort of in it, to be honest, still, just maybe at the entrance of the cave, not so much in the dark, deep depths. But hey, I can go back there. We all can. So healing from within, it's really interesting. I've mentioned a few, like maybe one or two episodes. I mentioned a medicine group that I connected with of sisterhood, because it's so important to have community. And I still believe like it is totally important to have community, and it's a huge aspect, but that can look so different for each person and each person's needs and what they're looking for and what they have time and energy and space for in their life. It's going to look different for you. Community can be small. Community, family, belonging to a tribe or a group of people, it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be an organized group, but it also can. And so it's kind of whatever serves you in this moment in your life. And so I just want to acknowledge that and confirm and encourage that whatever community or belonging looks like for you, whatever healing looks like for you, reconnection looks like for you, it's all individual. It's all very unique. But it's interesting being a part of a group that focuses very much on healing and healing from within and doing the work and doing the medicine, and then to see kind of like, or experience at least and witness the lack of integration, the lack of embodiment, the lack of actually like truth, honesty, all of that, like in a group of people that this is like the main objective, this is why we're here. And it really helped me to kind of dig deeper into the ways that I'm not living, like fully living my healing expression. I think we can kind of get into this mix where we're so focused on the fact that like, I need to heal this, I need to heal this, I need to heal this, that we don't realize like, but I've already healed this and I've already healed that. Like I'm actually living that healing. I'm actually enjoying the fruits of the labor of the work that I did. And not being obsessed with something is wrong with me. And I recognize this so well because I grew up my whole life thinking something's wrong with me. I popped out a sinner. I need to redeem myself. I need to ask Jesus into my heart and dedicate my life to service in order to redeem the wrong that I've done, which maybe just existing is wrong. And like, I'm automatically labeled, I'm automatically accused of guilt. And it's really interesting because as I've been working through that, like that belief and acknowledging, I still have that. And I'm still acting from a place of, I'm a sinner, I'm wrong, there's something wrong here, wrong with me. that actually expressed itself and manifested in the physical. And it actually involved the group that I was trying to reconnect with after coming from a cave season and being so disconnected from community, from a larger community. And I got accused of something I didn't do. And it was just so interesting watching this and going, oh my God, I don't have a voice. And um, my word means nothing here, and I'm not even being like, what I'm saying isn't even having equal weight with the accusation. It means nothing, whether I did or even didn't. It's like you're this, period. And I got labeled, and it was like, I don't even know how this is possible because I haven't even talked to anybody. Like I haven't even been here. I haven't even been involved. So it's like, wow, this is nuts. And it just made me realize like the absurdity of the belief that I am inherently a sinner, that I popped out wrong. It made me laugh. Once I got over like the hump of it and the drama, and all the energy, I sat with it and I just started laughing. And I just felt like spirit came in and said, do you see it now? And I was like, oh, I do. I see it. Oh my God. And I was like, thank you. God, that was a painful, like manifestation of this belief and how damaging it can be. All the things I was feeling, it brought up from childhood, because at 4, and I'm going to try to not cry about this, but even at 4 years old, um, any inkling of like, I think I just did something wrong. Like, I think I just disobeyed my parents. I think they told me not to do that. Or if I had questioned them in telling me to do something and I had asked why and I had gotten in trouble, it could have been like any little thing, or I just totally was absolutely disobedient and totally did the opposite of what I was told. Whatever it was, I wasn't innocent always, but like whatever it was, however it expressed, even if it was just this fear that I had done something, that God would think I didn't love him anymore. And that was my view of God, that he was God the Father, a male essence energy. So it was really interesting because even the relationship with my own father, being my pastor, being closely connected with God, and also he's very psychic, intuitive. In the Christian world, it's prophetic. Um, but there was a lot of things that he would like repeat my thought. If I had a thought, if we were in a argument and I would think this is so unfair, he would go, I know you think this is so unfair. I just heard you say that. But this is why it's not unfair. And he would explain it. And I would just go, how did you know what I just thought? So it was like, I felt very much like my father was so connected to God. And so anything I did, any argument, any conversation I had with my dad felt very much like a conversation with God. So it was so important to me from so young that I would go to the altar. I think it was when I was 3 or 4. I went and rededicated my life to God like every Sunday for like 6 months ish. And I was in this place where I was aware. It was like this awareness of like an understanding that when I do wrong, I hurt my relationship with God. I hurt my connection with God. And so from very, very young, I always thought it could be just the thought that I did something wrong. It could be just the possibility that I did something wrong that made me automatically guilty. I hope this is making sense for you, the listener. It When I look back now, I recognize how damaging psychologically that belief was, especially for me, and how deeply rooted my unworthiness and not enoughness and guilt is. Like how deeply that's written in code in my DNA that I am wrong, and how that expresses in my life, how that's expressed in my body, how that even my relationship with my body and how I view my body, whether it's working or not working for me, how I view my relationships, friendships, any connection outside of myself, not even just within myself, and how this is reflected in my life. And then this particular situation that happened, it was such a blatant, um, total manifestation and reflection of my inner belief. And as much as I think that we have the ability to own our experiences in this life, there's also a lot that it's not us. It has nothing to do with your inner world. Sometimes it's just life. Sometimes it's someone else projecting onto you, right? They may be unhealed themselves or be in this journey or in this process themselves and projecting on you or whatever, right? It could be multiple things. So I think that's also a hypersensitivity of like over owning things that you don't need to own. It's not helpful or supportive for you to own. And certainly me considering myself guilty before I even take my first breath, or right when I take my first breath, that I now am, on trial for being a sinner. Um, like that's something that I have been totally taking off of myself, that burden. But I know that it's a process and it's a journey, right? Of us shedding those things that no longer serve us, those things that are not supportive and not helpful, that also have no validity, that have no place in you. There's no connection, there's no truth there. And another thing that I've realized, in kind of dabbling in different spiritual communities and kind of experiencing what I experienced in church in a different costume, it's really interesting because where religion it has more black and white, like right and wrong structure to it, spirituality has kind of this waftiness. And as much as I have appreciated that, in so many different situations and scenarios, it has not supported my personal journey because truth, although can sometimes be relative, sometimes truth is truth. And that's where it gets really hard because everyone's journey is sacred and everyone has their own truth, and that needs to also be honored and considered. But when it's you and you realize, oh, I'm being accused of something I know I didn't do, that has no truth or fact, but for that to not be considered because truth is relative, it's really hard to bridge that gap between yes, no, and maybe, like the black and white versus the grayscale. It's kind of hard sometimes to mold that. So very interesting experience. But I think when we are healing from within and we are connecting all parts of ourselves, it's really, I think it's fun, and I really appreciate the opportunities of life and the reflections back to help us know where we're carrying things in our body, soul, spirit, energy body. If this is something that in our soul, our mind, emotions, and will, is what I was taught the soul is, not just your spirit, your actual soul, but like your mind, emotions, and will. When when something still lives in you in your soul, it's going to be expressed in the body and it's going to be expressed in the physical realm, right? Which is the body and everything the body is experiencing within and outside of itself. And it's interesting because the energetics around that and the spirit aspect of what you are choosing to believe and still walk as if it is true, how that is then also expressed energetically and spiritually, and how that can change things, that can change your experience and influence the people around you and what you end up kind of, bringing into your space. So healing from within is so intricate, and it's different for every person. And I think it sometimes is very hard to navigate because if you're like me and you're quick to own something and you're quick to reconcile and you're quick to correct, because that's how I was taught, that is what I grew up doing, is reconciling, coming forth with my sin and acknowledging it, and coming before God and asking for forgiveness and wanting to be in right standing again with God and have a reconnection within my relationship and connection with God. It it's it's really hard for me when um life doesn't allow that. Sometimes there's things in life that it doesn't allow for you to own it, acknowledge it, or even have the ability to reconcile outside of yourself, whatever it is, but we always have the ability to reconcile within ourselves. And that's where I think it's really great to allow triggers or opportunities, or when people reflect things back to you, to go, got it. Like, I'm still defensive because I'm so used to being justice, right or wrong oriented, that I'm not able to see the grayscale in this. And I'm not able to even allow it, not able to allow flow, or like the unknown. Like, I need to name it, claim it, make it this or that, like I need it black and white, black or white. I need it to be like yes, no. I can't waft in the unknown, maybe, gradient. I can't do a gradient right now. And it's like, and why? Because what does it mean if it's unknown or a question mark? What if it's an unanswered question around you, around life, around a situation? And so it's funny because when we heal, when we connect, when we're healing within, a lot of times we don't get the answers. A lot of times you can't determine or pinpoint what it is that is causing a disconnection, a dissonance, a dis-ease within you. And even in the health space, as I've gotten into it, it's like, oh, well, you must be doing something wrong, because like, or else this would be different. Like, I'm just going to come out with it. There's a reason why you're fat, you know? Like, you clearly don't eat right, or it has to be that. And or you don't really actually exercise. Or you don't take your supplements, or whatever it is, like, I'm doing something wrong. And I realized in the physical, in the body, this relationship with my body of like, you're doing something wrong, you're broken, you're not right, you're not this, you're not that, right? You're not beautiful, you're not worthy, you're not attractive, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that you like write over yourself, whatever it is. Not a good enough mom, dad, I'm not a good enough employee or boss, and whatever. If it's a physical manifestation, that you have a disease or cancer, identifying with that and saying, yeah, I am OCD, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am fat, I am this. I mean, those are all affirmations, right? Of whatever the disease, the dissonance, the disconnection is. And when we begin identifying with the issue or the expression that we do not feel is what we want, what we desire, what it is we want to experience in this life. For me, I want health. I want wholeness. I want also amazing relationships. Like, I want friendships that are just with solid men and women that are like wise and understanding and are whole people, on a journey, same as me. And I also want to be living my true expression and purpose. I want to fulfill what it is I want to experience in this life, and also what I want to contribute, what I want to receive and what I want to give, right? That's what I want. But if I said, I will never, blah, 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 this will never happen, I am not, blah, 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 or I am the negative, I am, blah, 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 right? Begin owning it in the present. And even if you never speak it and you just think it and you just believe it, that is going to energetically be cultivating this energy around what you don't want. And then it's going to begin manifesting in the physical and within your body and outside of you. So in focusing on healing within, and what is it that is disconnected? What is it that has dissonance or disease? How is this expressing? Life is such a tool. Opportunities are such a tool. What people reflect back to us, or what life circumstances and situations reflect to us, is such an amazing tool and opportunity. And as painful as it is, or drama, or, just not fun, a huge challenge as it may be, it is such a gift. And that is something that I'm like, like I've like literally, it's helped me to also just totally let go of the situation and to totally go, oh my God, I get to have more freedom. Because the way that this felt, it made me realize, like, this is how God, source, universe, spirit, how my soul feels when I walk around with this belief that I'm not worthy, or I'm not enough, or I'm guilty of something that I'm not guilty of. And it just like it really mirrored that for me in live action. And I just realized there's no purpose in even defending. I can hang out in the gray. The gray can just waft waft that way. But what I'm taking with this is, got it. I'm not guilty. How beautiful. I'm not guilty, and I am enough, and I am worthy, and I am whole. I'm perfect. I lack nothing. Everything I have within me is all I need to heal and connect and to thrive and to exist in the bliss of existence and to live my purpose and connect with other people outside of myself and have beautiful, amazing, wonderful, whole friendships and relationships with people, and to live my purpose and to experience that. Like that's it. Like when I realized that and realized this is the truth of what is trying to be reflected and shown to me, is just how ridiculous it is to blame myself for something. Certainly, we want to own the things that we do that feel out of alignment or out of integrity, that are not honest or not truthful. I think that's really important. But in the same vein, I can be the person who will go, okay, yeah, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it for the team, or I'll become small because that's what's wanted of me. So I'll become small, I'll minimize, I'll diminish, in order to avoid drama, in order to avoid whatever. And I've done that too, because being a pastor's kid, I was like put up on a pedestal. I was very like seen, shown, like I was a demonstration of my parents and their success as pastors. And so there was a lot of pressure, not from my parents, but from church members, and people who knew my parents and knew who I was, that I was associated with them. And so like there was always this fear of like letting them down in some way. And so I would like take on guilt and anything I could do to minimize or diminish or like um, bring bring it down, to a whisper. I would morph and shapeshift and become whatever I needed to become in order to do that, which meant that I was inauthentic and not honest and um, diminishing myself, which is so sad. And I know that a lot of you who are in relationships or in friendships or in community or in your family, that you've done something similar to that, and that you've diminished yourself, and that you haven't actually um, looked and allowed it to reflect back to you the truth, which is that you do not need to be diminished. You are enough. You are worthy of every good thing, of love, of joy, of peace, of living your purpose and enjoying life and being connected within and being connected outside of yourself. You deserve all of that. You deserve the world. You deserve this experience, and to enjoy it. And so if you can relate to, man, I've really like I've gone back. I've taken a step back, and maybe that was in alignment for you. So not saying that it's not, but in any way that you feel like you have stopped expressing your authentic self, that you're not embodying your true self, that you're not integrated, that you've disconnected in some way, that you've disassociated in some way. Uh, I want to encourage you that like healing within is taking all parts of yourself and making sure all parts of yourself are connected, making sure that your body is connected, making sure that your, soul is connected to your body, and that is in alignment, with what you want to experience in the physical is truly being experienced. And if it's not, why? And kind of going in it within and seeing, got it. Is it my mind? Is it my emotions? Is it the choices I'm making? Is it the beliefs that I have, the core beliefs? Is there a conditioning or a programming or, a neural pathway that was created from an experience, a trauma, or something that happened in the past that in order to survive, in order to thrive, in order to feel safe, I created this and this no longer serves me. Like it served that purpose perhaps, but it no longer serves me now. It actually is hindering. It's really interesting to look into that. And then also the energetics. What are you allowing in your space? What are you cultivating in your spirit, in your energy? What are you allowing in? Because as many people as I've worked with that have said, like, oh, the energy vampire, or like some astrological event is impacting them and they're a victim of it, a victim of Mercury retrograde. I mean, I've blamed several of things on Mercury retrograde, but it's interesting to, if you believe that, if that's a belief that something outside of yourself could take over, maybe there's an outsourcing of power and ownership there over your own life and over your own experiences and how you feel. Certainly, I think we definitely have influences, but ultimately we have a choice of what we focus on and what we connect with. And a lot of people feel very connected astrologically and very much connected to the energy shifts, and that's beautiful and powerful. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. But is it in alignment? Is it supportive? Is it helping you to heal within? Or is it actually still creating dissonance and separation within self, disconnection within self? And therefore, anywhere like in the body where there's a disconnection and communication can't happen, if that's hormonally, if that's, your body not able to produce enough T cells, it could be so many different things that happen in your body that there's a disconnect. And what happens when in your body there's a disconnect? Cancer is one, disease is another, right? Cancer is simply cells not communicating with cells and then attacking the cells that they can't communicate with. That's that's literally what cancer is. It's just a disconnection. It's a lack of communication within the body. Um, it's seeing something as an enemy, foreign, um, and not to be trusted. And so when we are thinking that way, like I can't trust, um, and seeing everything as our enemy, what are you going to experience in the body? And that's been one of the things in the cave season that I realized of like the reason why I have disconnection in my body and why my body isn't functioning the way it totally should, because I know these things that I'm doing, like eating well, eating what my body needs and exercising and getting out in nature, I'm not seeing much progress. Why? Because ultimately I still believe that everything outside of me that is unknown is a potential enemy, right? That could potentially attack me. And then even the world at large of like, oh, the government isn't for me, the government is against me, the pandemic is fake and everything was fake, and thinking like, okay, well, I can't trust my government to protect me, I can't trust the army military to protect me, so I have to arm myself and I have to get 2 years worth of food and I have to have a plan ready, so I can escape the city if I need to, just all of that. Like, it's one thing to be prepared and be wise, and have resources. It's another to like be anticipating, the worst thing scenario that could happen. And ultimately, that will be my experience if I continue believing that all of these things outside of me are my enemy. That could be a girlfriend, that could be a guy friend, that could be your ex, that could be your family, it could be someone in passing, it could be a stranger that walks up to you and asks for change, a homeless person. It could be so many different things, right? We're always sus of each other, right? No, everyone's out to do wrong, right? Is the assumption. Can't trust anybody. And there is merit to being wise, and there is merit to having safety. But do you understand what I'm trying to level you with? Is that there's a difference between being wise and discerning than being in fear and causing and basically putting on everyone else and everything else outside of yourself that you are under attack. Then what's going to happen? You're going to be under attack. You're going to experience that because you're putting out, I am, right? This is. And if you continue doing that, what's going to happen? You're going to manifest it. So at the same time that we can take ownership for that and our part in cultivating this energetically, which connects and aligns with our belief system that we have, then is expressed in the body and outside in life, we have to understand that there is a connection between all parts of ourselves, and how something happens and is expressed has been cultivated for a long time. It could even potentially be cultivated over many a lifetimes. And so I think that's where we can just acknowledge, recognize, ask yourself, where does this exact thing live in me? Like, where do I have, guilt that I totally have that is not related to me at all, not connected to me, not related to me, has no grounds, has no truth, does not resonate, is not in alignment. It's nothing I'm actually guilty of. Where do I have that within me? Got it. This is where I need to heal. This is where I need to reconcile. This is true healing within. And this can be in so many different places. You have a disease, you have something that is disconnected. Like in going to a homeopath, it's insane. My homeopath is amazing. And she will hook me up to all these machines, and my body begins to speak, and she reads what my body is saying. And my body is saying, you have a lot of joy, but you also have a lot of fear of the future and financial fear, safety fears, but around resources and ultimately, will you be able to do what you want to do? Will you be able to enjoy life? So it was like this fear of, I don't know if I'll ever be able to enjoy my life. And I was like, that is crazy that you can pick that up in my body. That is nuts. Like, that is amazing to me that that comes up. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, yes. That is exactly ultimately the fear. Like, I don't even think I recognize that outside of this this machine reading my body and what my body was saying. And so she was like, well, the good thing is that you have joy and you have a lot of it, and that's coming up. And so that equates to resilience in the body. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. That's so encouraging. And she can tell what's disconnected, like my liver's saying this, and my hormones and adrenals are saying this. And so she can like totally take all of that and let me know what my organs are saying, what my body is saying. What it's asking for as well, which is just so cool. And so that whole journey has really been such a beautiful example of what happens in the soul, such a beautiful example of what happens in the spirit, and how my soul and my spirit are asking for these experiences and are asking for things that they need: time and space, sovereignty, total ownership of life, and also just a total letting go of things that are not things that I was ever meant to carry, burdens I was never meant to walk with. And I just want to encourage you with the same, that there are things that you carry and things that you have taken on that do not serve you and were never meant for you to carry, but you carried them and you took on that burden because you felt that you had to. You felt like you were obligated or that it was your responsibility. And I just want to say that's a beautiful, beautiful expression of love, a beautiful expression of also just like a sense of like leadership, wanting to also shoulder the burden so that others don't have to. It's a beautiful like of service heart, and also like disposition. Like it's just naturally your disposition to serve and be of service, but at what cost? And I figured this out. This is a lesson I learned in my relationship, my last long-term relationship, that if I don't honor myself, I'm not honoring my partner. I cannot continue to dishonor myself and my heart, disregard it, and think that I'm being of service and serving my partner. I'm not. By not serving myself and not loving myself and not preferring myself and acknowledging what I need and voicing that, I am dishonoring myself. Therefore, I'm dishonoring this person. And I would say the same thing is for this in this instance. If you are disregarding your heart, if you're disregarding who you are, and you're morphing, you're diminishing, you're shape shifting in order to be someone or something that someone else or a group of people need you to be, then you're not truly honoring yourself and your soul. And as we come into the age of love, right, and we become more unified in love, we have to first love self in order to love others. And that is truly healing within, is loving yourself. It's not narcissistic, it's not self-absorbed, because truly love is shared. And so it's not a obsession with self, it's not an obsession with self-healing, or your healing journey or your personal life, but it is loving yourself, and it is loving your life, and it is honoring yourself and honoring your life, and being true to your convictions and true to your journey. So I always say, if you really feel convicted and in alignment with the religion that you're a part of, the belief system that you're a part of, or spirituality or nothing, agnostic, atheist, whatever it is, if that is your true conviction, that's sacred, you know? And by loving yourself and honoring others in their journey, that is love. That is loving yourself and loving others. Sometimes that means you need to move away from a group of people or a person. Sometimes that means that you're allowing them their sovereignty and them owning what they feel, and it may just not be in alignment for you where you're at right now. Maybe that'll change in the future. You know, you never know. But I think healing from within is self-love. It's honoring yourself. It's connecting all things together and understanding why things are being expressed in the physical, manifesting in the physical, manifesting in the body and outside of you in your life, and taking ownership and acknowledging that, but also not carrying undue guilt or shame, but simply just connecting with that and going, got it, I understand, get it. And then you're creating a space in a life that serves your purpose, why you came here. And we all came here to enjoy life. We all came here to experience life, to shift, to transmute, to heal, yes. But we came here ultimately to live this authentic expression of what you are, which is beautiful and lovely and so needed. And if we continue to shapeshift and change for others, we can't live our individual expression. There's no unity and there's no love in that. And so I hope this episode was really encouraging to you. I hope it was helpful as you are on your journey of healing within and connecting all parts of yourself, body, soul, and spirit. And I hope that this encouraged you. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my journey and my little golden nuggies in my life and my soul journey, the ish of the soul. I appreciate you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share.